So the whole Teddy versus Babyface went down the other day, and a lot of people are pretty upset about it because Teddy basically ruined our nostalgia and messed up the live. I was probably one of the few that was happy that it went down that way, because it gave me an opportunity to see the whole thing again and to experience the whole live stream battle DJ sort of thing.
Are you coming with? Where are we going? Teddy Riley versus Babyface. Yes, I'm ready.
Fortunately, I got my American time zones mixed up, so I'm on Pacific Standard Time, and while I was making my dinner, all of this was going on. I'm gonna make sure I tune in this time. I've set my alarm so I can watch it. A rematch has been declared, and I'm not gonna miss it this time. I basically was able to see the footage on YouTube, thanks YouTube, and the whole thing, the memes, everything that's come out about this thing has been hilarious. From the onset, you can see Teddy is just doing too much. His background is ridiculous, unnecessary. You know, we're all going through a time of quarantine, social distancing, or whatever you want to call it. And people are getting on their lives. You're basically seeing them in their living room or wherever, just webcam, their phone, nothing special, just getting on live. And, you know, not people come on there, don't even wear makeup, nothing. It's just doing what you got to do, communicating whichever way you can communicate. So Babyface, in the spirit of that, he comes on, he's in his studio, it's probably a home studio. He's, you know, maybe got his laptop, whatever, that's all you see. I didn't even see a laptop, it's just him in the studio, and he's able to just play whatever songs he's prepared, he just plays them. Teddy, on the other hand, has got, like a band, a mic? He basically came to film a concert. You know, like the days where you used to see video footage of Michael Jackson's concerts and things like that. This is how he came, and I really have to ask myself, did he really come to basically annihilate Babyface, you know, artistically? Did he really? I honestly beginning to think like he just came to embarrass Babyface, and he's the one who ended up getting embarrassed. You know, like when people are going for battle, they both have similar equipment, and whoever wins wins. Well, he wanted to dominate. He wanted to basically make it where it was no contest. I think Teddy thought he was Goliath, and in a way he was, because Goliath ended up losing. Well, I think Teddy had in mind that he was just gonna come and make Babyface look ill-prepared. He was gonna basically just come out all guns blazing, and so I think he really wanted to embarrass Babyface and just make him look, you know, small in comparison to him. But God said, not today. Babyface has just recovered from having the virus. He and his family were holed up. He's in his 60s. He does look eternally youthful, but he is in his 60s, and, you know, he wasn't plotting a concert or trying to blindside Teddy in any way. He just came to be his authentic self. Teddy wanted it to be the Teddy show. I mean, let's be real, that's basically what he had in mind. Whereas Babyface, he came with, you know, I'm just gonna jam with all you guys and go back and forth with, you know, someone else who's also an icon, and, you know, all this whole battle thing. It's all in good fun, isn't it? But Teddy, yeah, he came to win through any means. We're all supposed to be, you know, in a time of isolation, and he's got a whole crew with him. None of them are wearing masks. You know, I've seen people with radio shows do their thing. They're still trying to do some, you know, radio shows. But when a guest comes on, like I think I saw one with Blueface, he was wearing a mask. There was only like a couple of other people in the room. Whether or not you think masks are effective, I think the general consensus is that they're an added precaution. He didn't show any awareness of that he was even trying to be in line with any sort of social distancing. He was just all about, this is my concert, I am coming here to win, everyone's going to be talking about me. But no, people, yeah, everyone is talking about you, but for all the wrong reasons. And I love Teddy, don't get me wrong. You know, I follow him on Instagram, and I followed him for a while, and he'll be lucky to get like 100 comments on his posts sometimes. You know, he has had a couple of 100 comments here and there on certain posts, but I've seen posts where he's just had like under 50 comments. Now, when I log onto his Instagram, there are like thousands upon thousands of comments, like 7,000 comments for one post. Likes into the multiple thousands, you know, whereas before so people were just like all on his page now, And you know, it's still all within good fun. And it was good to see that Teddy can laugh at himself. I mean, he himself is reposting some of the memes and reenactments that are going on online. So I think he's a good sport for the whole thing, and it's good. I like people who can laugh at themselves. I mean, that's the best way to approach it. Yeah, it was just hilarious, the whole thing. The memes, you know, I even made a couple of memes myself. I decided to join the Black Twitter party, get involved, and I love to see the comments from celebrities, because they showed that, you know, they're just fans like the rest of us, and they were just like, come on Teddy, get it together.
I mean, Teddy had his hype man, a fucking DJ, his microphone, his just too much.
Some people were saying that they basically had secondhand embarrassment. Yeah, it was all the comments I saw on the replays were just hilarious. Babyface, if you look at his face, it was very unbothered. And when he initially saw Teddy's setup as well, it was kind of like, oh, okay. The reason I kind of thought Teddy was trying to take over the whole thing was because Babyface was trying to get his attention. I think he was basically going to suggest that they, you know, just call it a day, maybe start again some other time. And Teddy did not hear him. Multiple times, you know, he was calling him Teddy. And what I found funny is when all the troubles began, it was obvious that it was on Teddy's side. But he kept telling Babyface to turn his mic down, as if that was the reason why all the troubles were happening. And it's like, no, you've had too much going on. You know, like when you call into a radio station, they tell you to turn your radio down or there'll be feedback. And this is basically what was happening. It was just like, Teddy, turn that off, just get your laptop, go on Spotify if you need to, and just play the music. You know, Babyface, he came with very simple instruments or whatever, very simple equipment, but he was killing it on his part. You know, he played Bobby Brown, he was playing some of his old jams, he really brought it. And then it was Teddy's turn, and then it was like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? And then his crew, his troubleshooters, tried to intervene, and they kind of just, yeah. And again, when his troubleshooters were there, it was like, how many people are in the room with him? And I don't know if it's Photoshop, because I can't believe it, but I've seen photos, screenshots of literally a production equipment in the background. You know, like when you watch a show and they show you the behind the scenes and you see all the production footage, like they're filming as if they're in a kitchen or, you know, the living room, like in Friends or something like that. But then when you actually see behind the scenes, you see there's like lighting equipment, mics, everything in the background. And I've seen pictures of that on Teddy's live. Like, did he really have all of that equipment? It was ridiculous. So yeah, I mean, I'm really interested. I'm so excited for the rematch, because I think we're just going to see Teddy in an empty room, no furniture, nothing, not even a chair to sit on, and just Spotify. You know, he's probably learned his lesson now, and we're going to see what we tuned in for in the first place. So I'm really excited for the rematch. I'll tune in and let you know how that went. I haven't really utilised at home free type concerts that's been going on during this whole quarantine period. So, you know, I'm excited for this. It's called a battle, but I do think it's all in good fun. And you know what? I'm glad it happened, because the whole thing was hilarious. And when we look back on this time, it was a time of, you know, a lot of troubles going on, a lot of fear. But at least we can look back at this 2020 and remember the Babyface versus Teddy Riley and the shambles of the first live stream and the memes and, you know, the reactions that everyone had. We do need a laugh, don't we, during these times that we're going through, and laughter is very good medicine. So I watched the rematch, and I have to say I was really impressed. Teddy kept it very simple this time. He had a similar setup to Babyface, and it was just two of them going back and forth, playing classics, telling little stories and, you know, anecdotes here and there. And, you know, it was just really nice to hear them talk back and forth and play some good classic tunes back and forth. They played SWV, TLC, Bobby Brown, Tevin Campbell. I mean, so many throwback classics. And then they had a really nice moment where Babyface just gave Teddy his props, you know, telling him how, you know, being the pioneer of New Jack Swing and how inspirational he is, and just how he is a legend in his own right. And then likewise, Teddy said the same thing to Babyface, telling him how he looks up to him as an older brother, and you know how he's just so iconic within the music industry. So they had a really great moment where they showed mutual respect for one another. And you know, I think Teddy he was just trying to put on the good show with the first live, and that's what he said at the end. You know, he said that that's all he was trying to do. He's really trying to make it special, make it memorable, and it certainly was. But you know, the rematch went well. There were some hiccups. There were quite a few hiccups, but they weren't Teddy's fault. I do think his internet connection wasn't as good as Babyface's internet connection. Maybe he was in a section of the house where the reception wasn't that great. I don't know. Sometimes his screen was blurry, and I thought the sound for the most part was good. Then there were some issues with Instagram. People were saying, you know, these two have basically broken Instagram, because Instagram started going crazy. They kept re-logging in, and it wouldn't let Teddy join the live. And then when we switched to Teddy's live, it wouldn't let Babyface join. And then at some point, I thought it was a really nice moment where it was just Babyface and us. And he started playing the Bob Dylan song that I believe he produced, Change the World. And, you know, he's just so effortless and so talented on the guitar. And then he said, head over to Teddy's live, and, you know, I'll try and log on there and see if that can fix the problem. So we went over to Teddy's live, and then Teddy's just like playing Michael Jackson, I think it was Blood on the Dance Floor, and then he's playing piano to accompany it. So he's jamming on the piano, and then we had Babyface on the guitar. It was great. But then Babyface was basically on the live, and I think you have to, you know, click on their profile, and then it will let them on. And people kept saying, Teddy, Babyface is, you know, he's on the chat, let him in. And for some reason Teddy either didn't notice, or he didn't see that it was blocking him from seeing that Babyface is on the chat or something like that. I don't know. So it was kind of funny, and people were saying Teddy's getting a concert he tried to get the first time around, because he was just jamming, he just continued playing the piano, and it was all very entertaining. And then unfortunately, you know, like an hour had already passed, I believe, so it was they just decided to end it separately. I didn't hear anything about who won. I mean, we all agreed that they're both winners. I mean, come on. But, you know, they both ended it separately. So I listened to Teddy play a bit more of the piano, and then I headed over to Babyface, and he was playing Whitney and Mariah, Miracles. And it was just a nice ending. And then I went back to Teddy, and Teddy carried on for a little bit longer, having his little concert. So he was playing, again, he loves Michael Jackson, so he was playing more Michael Jackson. I know he's worked with Michael, you know, he worked with him on a few tracks, and he was playing more Michael Jackson, jamming along. And then he put the phone up to the screen, and Dr. Dre was on the line. And, you know, they worked together with Blackstreet, with No Diggity. So, you know, Dre was giving him his props and saying, well, I really enjoyed it, you redeemed yourself. And then he asked him, like, what happened? What happened the first time around? And he said, you know, again, he just talked about how he really wanted to put on a show, especially during this time in particular. And then he said that all he had was, this time around, was an iPhone. And yeah, if only he had done that the first time, but, you know, he learned. So he just had his iPhone, and I guess that picked up the sound. The sound sounded really good for the most part. And yeah, so I don't know what happened with Instagram. Instagram just couldn't handle the greatness. But, you know, it didn't ruin it. And this time it wasn't Teddy's fault. So everything went well for the most part, and I really enjoyed it, and I think everyone had a good time. Even the hiccups that happened, it's all part of the fun, isn't it, really? When you're on Instagram or YouTube and you're doing all these live streams, anything can happen. I would say he redeemed himself. It will definitely go down as an iconic moment, especially when we look back on this time.
And so, you know,
inspired me.
I think what it is, we keep each other on our toes, you know. And so with that,
How do you think it all went down? Were you impressed? Do you think Teddy redeemed himself? Thanks for watching. Rate, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And don't forget to click the bell for more.